Welcome back. Before we take a look at the day's business news, let's take a look at the stock indices across the GCC. And in our top business story, Qatari real estate investors in Dubai spent an average of 6.71 million dirhams last year, marking them out as the biggest per capita spenders in the emirate, according to official figures released. Dubai Land Department data showed international transactions in the emirate topped 114 billion dirhams in 2013. While the Qataris were the biggest individual investors, Oman had the next highest per capita spent on Dubai property at 5.77 million dirhams, followed by the UAE at 4.56 million, Saudi at 3.71 million, Germany at 2.37 million, India 2.22 million, and Britain at 2.11 million dirhams. The figures were released ahead of the 10th International Property Show in April, which will coincide with the 4th Annual Investment Meeting at the Dubai International Convention and Exhibition Centre. IPS organisers said the fact the highest per capita investment in Dubai's realty came from GCC countries showed that Gulf investors remained a key driver in the Emirates property sector, encouraged by new investor-friendly legislations, proximity and a rising confidence in a lucrative return on investments. Other foreign countries which figured in high per capita real estate transactions in Dubai included France at 2.054 million dirhams, Russia at 2.051 million dirhams, Canada at 1.98 and the US at 1.83 million dirhams. Iraq aims to increase its production capacity of oil to 9 million barrels per day by the year 2020 to help support the private sector and cater for the surge in power demand. That's according to officials from the Iraqi government who attended Mead's Iraq Energy Projects Conference. His Excellency Karim Aftan al-Jumaili, Iraq's Minister of Electricity, delivered the keynote speech, where he detailed the investment opportunities in their ambitious programs for power generation. The minister stated that the country plans to increase its energy efficiency and aims to have 2% of energy consumption through renewable energy by 2016. The minister additionally announced that they are currently in the planning stages of adding an additional capacity of 21 gigawatts to meet the power demand, which is also part of the Iraq National Integrated Energy Strategy. Whilst revealing the details of the strategy, Tamer Ghadban, chairman of the Prime Minister's Office Advisory Commission, stated that they aim to increase production capacity from the current figure of just under 4 million barrels of oil per day to 9 million barrels per day by 2020. Of which 1.5 million would be used for domestic purposes. He further added that between 2010 and 2013, Iraq witnessed a significant increase in production which totaled 2,336.929 million barrels and generated revenue of $242.609 billion. Through the strategy of increased production, Iraq aims to maximize the benefits for the energy sector, be self-sufficient by building the petrochem industry, as well as the structural development of the private sector.
In this way, we would provide opportunities for the young Iraqis to get employment, because every year there are about 700,000 young people entering the workforce, as a workforce. And therefore unemployment is a serious issue that the government should handle. On the other hand, it looked at the role of the government and the private sector, and also it looked at opportunities for Iraq to become not only an oil producer and exporter, but as well as self-sufficient in gas for power generation for the industry, and also an opportunity to export gas to the neighboring countries like Kuwait, as an example. The requirements, revenue requirements to improve the standard of living in Iraq is huge because of the neglect, because of the wars in the past, and because of the sanctions that lasted 13 years. But on the other hand, we are optimistic that this year still is a difficult year, but we hope that next year, the years after, when production capacity will be substantially increased, and it will enable Iraq not only to produce and export more, but also to stop, let us say, importing oil products. We are still importing oil products for domestic use and also for power generation.
The National Bank of Abu Dhabi has announced the lineup of influential speakers and policy makers who will attend the 2014 Global Financial Markets Forum and will include the former chairman of US Federal Reserve, Dr. Bernanke. At a press conference, senior representatives from NBAD announced that the two-day forum will be held from the 4th to the 5th of March this year at the Emirates Palace. The speakers and policy makers who are expected to attend will offer the delegates an insight and broad analysis of the world market conditions and the potentials in 2014. Dr. Ben Bernanke will also be joined by Jean-Claude Trichet, the former president of the European Central Bank, as a panelist to speak at the forum to offer critical analysis of political and policy impacts on global markets. Among the discussions that are expected to be held at the forum will include Abu Dhabi's role as a financial centre, increasing importance and influence of the west to east corridor, rapid growth of the UAE aerospace industry, as well as the analysis on the 2008 financial crisis. According to the organisers, the forum, now in its sixth year, has moved on to a bigger spectrum with the attendance of influential speakers.
The event has been molded to a much bigger spectrum or coverage topics that will gonna address the global economy generally and its impact in the current and the future stages of the financial sector going forward, and it's also affecting the different areas or aspects of the economy.
One of the key focus areas for the forum is really to learn what are the lessons from the 2008 financial crisis. We have a panel session on that, which will feature Bob Diamond. And one of the key aspects that we're looking to bring on board here is post the 2008 financial crisis, how do we now seek to establish Abu Dhabi as a financial center? How do we become the fourth time zone? And to do that, what are the kind of opportunities and challenges that we have to take on board?
Etihad Airways has announced plans to launch a non-stop daily service between Abu Dhabi and Phuket later this year. Phuket is the largest island in Thailand and has emerged as one of the world's most popular destinations for both holidays and retirement. The new route will launch on October 26 using two-class Airbus A330-200 aircraft and becomes the second destination in Thailand to be served by Etihad and the seventh in Southeast Asia. James Hogan, President and CEO of Etihad, commented on the announcement, saying that the Thai capital of Bangkok has been ranked as the airline's most popular route for the past 4 years, with 742,759 passengers flown in 2013 alone. He added that expanding Etihad's reach in the country with a daily service to Phuket is a natural progression of this. Phuket is the 9th route to be announced by Etihad Airways in 2014.